This is We the Sales Engineers Podcast, show 262, I think.
Welcome to We the SEs Podcast, the show for sales engineers by sales engineers with your host, Ramsey Majaba.
What's up, SE Nation? Welcome back to another episode. I do YouTube videos, in case you didn't know that, and the last YouTube video I made was about preparing the first 30, 60, 90 days when you become an SE at a new company. So whether you're a previous SE and you shift to the company or a brand new one, I find that the onboarding process in most of these companies suck, unless you're lucky and you join a good company, or even if you join a good company, some of them don't have it. So I did that, and I got some pushback from one of my friends. His name is Anthony Palmozzi, who recently went through an onboarding process. And I figured, why not just have a discussion about it, see what he thinks, see what he saw, and provide feedback to you. Maybe that will be helpful. And we do discuss other things. It was more of a chat, less of an interview. Check it out. Hope you enjoy it. See, I won't be seeing you after the show, so talk to you later. Mr. Mosey, how you doing?
Hello, Mr. Ramsey.
Hello. So you've been on the podcast before a couple of times. I'm not interviewing you. You're not interviewing me. We're just having a chat because it's fun like that. You know, we love talking about sales engineering.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about, like, we were just discussing a little bit off air. Is that what we say? Off air.
Of course.
We were discussing off air the latest video that I created, what to do in the first 3 months. And before I published it, I kind of showed it to you. I showed you the script or the bullet points. And you're like, I don't think this is right. So how dare you? Well, let's dig into that a little bit. Like, what have you seen? Like, you've done onboarding much more recently than I have.
Sure.
And, at a company that actually has a formal onboarding process.
Right.
Because I haven't had any of those.
Yeah.
I've had to figure it out on my own, hence the video. So, what did you disagree with? Do you remember what you disagreed with, or should we just talk about it?
Yeah. Well, first off, I want to say, I guess I'm seeing this as if you and I are just meeting by the water cooler because I'm having a coffee.
I'm having a coffee too.
Cheers.
I think people are cringing right now.
Probably are, but they got to get the feel. You got to set the mood. It's not.
This is how sales engineers do it, you know.
Right before we get on our call, we gotta just
lubricate.
Yeah, we gotta communicate. Gotta get our mind right first. You actually you've shown one flavor. One way of how maybe an organization would do it. Sure. I've seen two different ways. The first way. Pardon?
Go ahead. I was saying, yeah.
Well, I mean, okay. Well, here also too, it's between my personal anecdote and then also the SEs that I've known in their organizations. But it seems to me that the standard for onboarding is typically, it's about 3 months, right? 90 days, if you want to say. By then, that's when they say, all right, you're out there and you are, now taking customer calls. There was one instance where the onboarding was about 3 weeks tops. And then it was basically like you now are like, in a sense, you are now like the SE and you got to go figure this out. Just like what you said,
my onboarding for the first company was 1 week where my manager flew up. They brought up a mentor. I spent 2 days with the mentor. He left. I shadowed the manager for 2 days. He left. I'm an SE now. So, yeah, that's kind of the reason. I mean, there is no one size fits all. And the reason I wanted to publish that is not necessarily, it's not the end all be all. Everybody has their own way of doing things. And company A can do it differently than company B. It's for those that have the company that doesn't do anything. And SEs are left to their own devices to figure stuff out. Right? I would say, depending on the product, how many products you have, it could be longer, it could be shorter. Or depending on how well how fast you learn. Right? there's a couple of different things that I see. If you're if you're a technical person, it'll be easy for you to learn the technology, or in many cases, easy for you to learn the technology. The harder part is knowing what to do with it, right? Because most SEs, like, how many users do you want? These are the questions that they ask that I've heard. How many users do you have? How many X do you need? Right? They're not talking about the business, so they need to figure that out. They need to transition from technical to the business. And on the other hand, I've seen SEs who go from like teachers or mechanics or whatever, and they jump in and become sales engineers, and now they have a hard time with the technology, and they may or may not know the business either, right? Unless they come from that industry. So if you're a mechanic and you use some form of software for mechanics, and you come in and you become an SE for that company, you know the business. You are the business. You work there. So go ahead.
Well, that this is what I'm thinking about too. Shouldn't there be some kind of standardization? Again, that's where I'm glad we're having this topic, this discussion, because you could philosophize and say, okay, well, depending on the organization, the portfolio of products, the business and whatnot, we'll have to determine the length of time of how they may go about onboarding SEs. But I personally feel a standard should be set where every company has at least that kind of 90-day, almost in a sense, like you use that as a what's that called? Probationary period, that time to have SEs really fully integrate with everything, all levels of the business, whether it's the technical aspect, it's the business aspect, just even getting settled with knowing their stakeholders internally, externally. That could also be another onboarding as well. I just feel personally I feel like that should be there. I mean, whether it's someone off the street, someone who's jumping in being a mechanic or a music teacher into now being an SE for the first time, or that SE who's, been an SE before, I think like there should at least be that standard where give that person at least definitely more than 2-3 weeks. It should definitely be, it should at least be 30 days should be the standard for everyone to fully to at least just get all the different aspects. I mean, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, so I don't know if we can come up with a standard, because let's say someone goes and joins a company like Cisco, who has 1 billion products. It's going to be very different from someone who's joining Home Run, right? Like Home Run Presales.
Wait, so what is that? What is that company?
Home Run Presales. Brian Lewis. You don't know it?
No.
All
so
right.
what is that? What is Home Run Presales?
Well, it's kind of a CRM for SEs.
Oh, okay.
But they have one product. It's a smaller company, right? Whereas Cisco, it's a conglomerate, the 800-pound gorilla in the networking space. They have 1 million products. So onboarding is going to be very different. These are two different extremes. Is there a standard? I mean, that's why I put out that video. So if you didn't watch that video, you should check it out. I'll leave a link in the description. My website is down, by the way. So trying to fix that as I'm doing everything else. But I think the process should be the same, which is why I put in week 1 you do all the HR crap. Right? You get the computer, you sign into the CRMs, you sign into all the different stuff. And if you have time, you look at the pre-sales process and the sales process where you fit in, right? And then you look through the portfolio. You identify what generates the most business, because it's usually, you're familiar with the 80-20 rule, right?
No, what is that?
It's called Pareto law. It's 20%. 20% of anything generates 80% of the results.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what is that 20% that you can focus on, right? But it might not be exactly that. You could have multiple things. It could be a solution together, like multiple products working together. So you have to now learn not only the multiple products, but how they work together. So you need to identify that. You identify who the product management are, like who do you call if something happens, if you have questions. Every company has their email list or Slack group or Teams group that you need to join, figure that out. And then you just keep repeating. Like you do the entire process where I learned this product. Now I know how to demo it. Now I need to learn the next product. I need to learn how to demo it. Now I need to learn the next product. So on and so forth. So it could be expanded, or it could be retracted or shortened, depending on the company. Like if you're going, I don't know, smart sheets. I mean, the product's simple. It's just they have a million use case, right? But if you learn the product, you can start making your own use cases. You can start thinking outside the box. Whereas in networking, it might be a little bit more difficult because you have a billion products. So, what are your thoughts?
Well, I want to ask you this, just so, I mean, because it'll be interesting to hear this, but in your experiences, companies, all the companies you've worked for, like, what was the most amount of products you've had? Like, what was the amount of products in their portfolio that you've worked with?
So my two companies that are like this company and my previous company are kind of similar in the product numbers. But I don't know, maybe there's like 6 or 7 products. But you're talking, one is focused on IP, MPLS, and routing and like physical layer stuff, like connecting wires. The other one is LTE and 5G. So although they're in the same networking world, they're two different technologies that you have to learn. One is security testing. So that's another additional thing. Now you have to know HTTPS, SSL, TLS, how firewalls work, right? You're going away from the networking world. It's still in the networking world, but you're going away from the routing and switching to firewalls, load balancers, all sorts of things like that. There's also like server testing. If you have a video server and you want to make sure that the traffic is like the video quality is good, you can test that. So I would say between 7 and 10, and they keep increasing. Right? But the technologies are so different, and when you're in the networking world, you have to learn the technology in addition to the product, so you can talk about it. Because when you talk to customers, they don't talk in terms of product; they talk in terms of technology.
Yeah, because I asked that because one company I was at had 20 enterprise level products with 5 open source. So we had to know, in a sense, 25. And then other company, we had servers. You had to know hyper converge infrastructure. You also had to know all the different storage systems. I mean, that right there, I believe there was another 10 to 20 products right there, and then also all the peripherals and you had to know even just the networking, the connectivity, all the wires and everything. So I just feel that. Go ahead. I was gonna say, because I feel that's a kind of environment where someone needs definitely ample time. I don't think a week is adequate. I don't think a month is adequate.
Not just that. If you have like I have between 7 and 10 different technologies. I think people not only need ample time to learn, they need actual official training. Yeah, they need to be able to sit in a room with a bunch of people and someone trains them on the product, especially early on, like as part of the onboarding. And in the companies that I've worked with, we don't have that. If you go to companies like Cisco or Dell or Nokia or Jupiter, they have their own certification classes. So you can go sit in a room for a week and learn about technology and learn about the products. In that case, maybe like you don't need to figure out your own onboarding. There is a process already set for you. But most companies that I see out there, especially not all of them have an onboarding process. My onboarding process was a checklist for 12 weeks that had nothing to do with anything. Get this certification. It's like, all right, Ramsey, here are the answers to those questions. Go get the certification, kind of thing. Right? Versus like, all right, what do I need to learn to get that certification? And it's all self-paced, all on your own.
Yeah. I mean, well, 2 things. First off, academies, right? Of course, I would know that, of course, the big companies have the resources and all that stuff like that to allow for that. That's, people can say, oh, go into an academy. That academy, of course, has its own onboarding program where you could go there from 3 to 6 months. Is one thing that I remember being in the academy and having that leg up. I had another peer of mine who was a brand new SE, and he didn't go through the academy. Same company, had to know all the same products, and his onboarding was a lot different. As a matter of fact, when speaking with him in confidence, one-on-one, he had a lot of trouble navigating. He had a lot of trouble compared to the academy people who got to literally sit in classrooms, literally. Like we had some times where we had some of the people come in the classrooms and we would be sitting in a room and we had that time just to learn versus working in that very agile function where I remember in one of my previous companies as an SE where it was like, all right, well, you're going to be ramping up, you're going to be learning, but you're still going to be jumping on calls, you're still going to be talking to all your internal stakeholders, you're going to be doing all these things while also learning, while I exclusively just sat there and learned.
Yeah, and that's why, like, I wanted to provide. Maybe I'll work on a template and share it. Maybe people. I need to work on a template. Actually, if you can help me with that. But anyways, if we have a template of what we want to do, and we go and we jump with a hiring manager, and they just tell us, "All right, go learn on your own and jump on these," we can choose like, "Hey, this is my plan. This is what I would love to do for the next few weeks. Let me know if we tweak it a little bit to fit your needs at the same time. How can we do this? Right? Can we work together on this? So I have a plan of what I need to do over the next 3 months so I can be an effective SE for you versus showing up and the SE manager will tell you, all right, you have to learn that product and this product and that product and this product. And you have to jump on calls at the same time. And you can learn these products by going to that website and just reading stuff. Right? So I feel like there's a lot missing.
Yeah.
And just it should be a little bit more structured. The problem that I find is most SE managers don't have time to structure it. They're running around like chickens with their heads cut off because they have, I don't know, between 7 and 12 people that they're working with. Some of them are doing well, some of them are not. And now they just got someone new, and there isn't a mentor training process either. Right. That's why, like, I had a video or podcast where it said mentors suck. Like, some mentors are great, but that's because they want to be great. Some mentors suck because they don't care. They were just given like, hey, I want a promotion. What do I need to do? Well, you need to mentor more people. All right, fine, I'll mentor more people. All right, here's Ramsey. Go mentor him. And they show up. It's like, all right, Ramsey, what do you need? Like, everything? What do you mean? What do I need? I just joined the company.
Yeah.
Like, all right, let me write down a bunch of stuff on a piece of paper and you figure out the rest. And then every like 5 weeks, check it in. Like, oh, thank you. That was completely useless. That was my first experience with my mentor, where he showed up for 2 days and then disappeared. And what I ended up doing is developing mentorship with a bunch of other people on the team. So I didn't just count on him. And then he left 2-3 months into the job. Into my role, and I was never given another mentor, and that's why I started We the SEs. Right? That's the genesis of We the SEs.
Yeah. So here, this was the second thing I wanted to say. Don't you think there's something inherently wrong with the idea of saying, just figure it out? Like that whole system of like, yeah, we'll do a legit like 1 to 2 week on board, and then after that, you just got to figure it out. I just feel like. Just like when I was talking to this guy named Steve Simmons, he was an individual contributor, and then he became a manager, and he's had roles where he's gone through through different areas where he was a people manager and then a product leader, product manager. Yeah. He said the whole thing, and I believe it. Like from being a brand new SE all the way to being an SE manager, there like you miss out on the nuances when you're just thrown a document and said, hey, read this and just figure that out. Like what I would retain and what I would maybe synthesize from that information could be totally different from somebody else. So it's like, there has to be some kind of conversation. There has to be some kind of inflection. It has to be beyond just a document and being told just go figure it out. I really believe there needs to be some kind of full-fledged, all-encompassing kind of thing going on when it comes to this onboarding process. Because you're not catching, again, there's nuances that what I would maybe see as something would be something totally different in somebody else's mind. And so there has to be some kind of, there has to be a common understanding. There has to be a common definition. I think even Steve Simmons talked about that. Like what I define could be something as differently than what you define. There has to be a discussion around that there, so that's why I feel like, in a sense, saying it's one thing. I see pros, of course, about saying, hey, go figure this out. That's great. It also opens up new different pathways in the brain. But I also feel there needs to be some kind of standard where we all are in a common understanding of what, what is meant by the document, what is meant by the company's protocol, and so forth.
So a few things that pop in my mind right now. That's why most companies want to hire experienced sales engineers, because they know where to learn, how to learn, and what to learn, right? To an extent. Also, the reason I don't see too many academies, it's because it's expensive. You just hired someone, or like an onboarding process, an onboarding academy, I guess. You just hired people. You want them to be as effective as possible, as early as possible. But now you're paying them to not do the work. You're paying them to learn. And also you need to hire people to do the teaching, because the SE manager doesn't have time, the teammates don't have time, they have their own customers. So a lot of companies just bring people in and hope that they work out, but they're not really setting them up for success. Sometimes it looks like it's too expensive to set up a new person to the team for success. It might be cheaper just to replace them, potentially. I don't know, because if you think about it, if they want to onboard, each product will probably need an expert to come and train. Right? Not many people will know all the products all the time. So let's say that company that had 20 products, they might need between, I don't know, 5, maybe let's say 5 trainers teaching everybody on the product. You also need people who know the pre-sales process, who can teach people how to do the demo, how to ask the questions. You also need someone to manage them. And now it's an entirely separate team to actually do it. Maybe people have done it, and if you're listening to this and you have done it in a very cheap way, I would love to hear about that. So reach out to me and let me know. But that's how I see it now. If you set up that team, I think it's a good investment, because now you're hiring someone, you're paying them, I don't know, between 100K and 300K potentially. They can come in and you're setting them up for success. They don't have to worry about, like, am I learning the right thing? Am I learning this product? I was talking to someone who knows one product very well, but doesn't know the second product, and he's struggling because he has to learn it on his own. And there's not many people to turn to and ask questions. Right? And now his performance is suffering because no one sat there for 2-3 days and taught him about the product and why to use it and all that. So they're paying him let's say 200K because he's experienced. He came from another company, let's say 200K, plus benefits, plus all the other stuff that comes with hiring someone. I mean, if you're going to be doing this over and over, if you're going to be hiring more and more people, then maybe you should invest in maybe a small team initially. Start with one person instead of starting with. Yeah, I think there should be. If you want to set someone up for success, set them up for success, right? Don't just bring them in and say like, "Hey, figure it out." As you get more into the job, and now instead of having like 5, 6, or 10, 20 different products to learn, you have one new product or one new feature to learn. Yeah, you can go figure it out on your own. It's pretty easy at that point. Yeah. What do you think?
And I'm glad you said that. I mean, the companies saying, I know you said it earlier about this is why companies would want to hire an experienced SE.
Yep.
There's a lot to uncover with that because, it's one thing they want to hire an experienced SE. Maybe they want to not necessarily pay that, give out too much money because an experienced SE also requires a higher salary. But then also the whole idea where companies now are trying to hire people who are coming off of different, who are coming from a different mindset, right? Like maybe that experience SC sometimes just really gets fixated into what they see, what they've seen so many years. They build some kind of cognitive bias or schema.
They come with their baggage.
Yeah, they come with their baggage.
Everybody has baggage, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes they're not coachable. That's the hard part of like an SE manager and SE team trying to figure out, okay, this guy's been doing this for 10 years, or this girl has been doing this for 10 years. If we do something differently than the way they do it, will they learn? Will they want to learn? Or will they want to do the exact same thing that they've been doing for the last, I don't know. But if you hire, but the same problem happens, like I've worked with like 20-year-olds and between 20 and 30-year-old new SEs who jump on, and some of them think they're the best thing since sliced bread, and it's not until they get like a good slice of humble pie until they become coachable. Right, so I don't think it matters if it. At least the guy or girl who've been doing this for 10 years would come in and be able to do something. Right, and then like, you might have to navigate how to get them to open their eyes and do it differently. But they've been doing this for 10 years. They're successful for a reason. Right?
So do you think, okay, so you within this 30, 60, 90, or even just the onboarding plan, mentorship you were talking about before, right? That should be a part of the onboarding, right? Like, and what would that entail? Like, what would you find, for you, like, first off, like, do you think mentorship should be within this ramping, onboarding plan?
I think it should, but I think mentors should go into mentorship training.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're just. Like, I would prefer people to come to me for coaching. I am biased, right? Yeah. But I think the individual who's doing this should not, like, if they have an assigned mentor, they should find more mentors, anyways. You don't want to be in a bubble, right? If the mentor does things one way, how do you know that they're doing it right, or how do you know that they're doing it wrong?
Yeah.
You have to reach out to other people and figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's, I made sure that, although I was assigned a mentor, I still reached out to other people because my mentor was just one person. This person had their own bandwidth. That was one thing. The next thing, too, they only knew a sliver of one thing. So if I needed to know about an area that needed specialization, I had to reach out to a specialist. And so, of course, that person became my mentor because, there's areas of certain products that really need a little bit more of a deep dive. That also added extra, background too when it came to me connecting with customers. I was thinking like, mentorship should be part of it. Just throwing it in there, but don't want to just throw it in there. Like it should be a mentor who really cares. Huh?
Don't count on it. Like even if you have a good mentor, don't just count on it. Like even like I can tell you, my mentor when I first became an SE, he initially had apprehensions about me. Just I am Lebanese and he's Israeli. So he had some apprehension. He thought I was going to blow him up or something. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but he actually told my manager that he's worried about being my mentor. And I had to go through the trouble of winning him over, like, so he can be a mentor of mine.
Yeah.
Right, and everybody has their own prejudices and like biases, and that's fine. It's not like I don't care. Like he initially thought that. He still came and talked to me, and I changed his mind, and he changed his mind, which is great, right? That's what you want. People changing people's mind, changing people's biases, and figuring out how to get them to see you in a different light than just where you're from or your skin color or anything like that. But it's also good that I don't know if I completely trust this guy because he initially thought I was, something else. So from a personal perspective, also go find some other people that you might connect with better. Because although we became friends and we're all good, I never clicked with that guy. Like even though we're from the same area, well, he's American, so I don't think he's ever lived in Israel. But so I didn't really have too much in common with him. Maybe if he did live in Israel, we would click better. Right, because we're from the same area. So just find because you never know what other biases they may have against you.
True. And in the fact that you said this, man, I'll be honest, like I had I guess I called him a mentor too, but he was also my teacher in the academy. He got the position because he primarily wanted to mentor brand new people coming into pre-sales. And part of the what goes on in the academy is you get paired up, you get assigned a legit mentor. And he did talk about, he's like, look, man, he goes, I'm pairing everybody up, but there's a high possibility that one, if not a lot of people, are going to have clashes of personalities, meaning to the point where it's like, whether it's the mentor or the mentee, there's something about either one or both where they're just like, I can't work with this person. There's just something about this person that just really just rubs me off wrong, or the way I talk perhaps makes this individual really just upset. Yep. I do recall, because of my inquisitive nature, and I was still trying to learn during the academy. I had questions, and I might as well just been more independent on learning, because every time I reached out, this mentor was just like, he's like, go figure it out. I don't know why are you asking me this? I don't want to hear this. Just go here. Here's these documents. Go read it, and that's it. And it's like, okay, And then when I got to another mentor, it just, the synergy, maybe it just worked. We were able to have conversations, and we're just more fluid. Yeah. So like the things that account for that. But while I still had that initial mentor, that made me even go out more and be more resourceful to be like, all right, well, this is not working right here, but hey, we have this whatever is going on in relationship, so I'll just use that. But I know that I still have other individuals that I can reach out to. So yeah. Just going back to what you were saying before.
I mean, yeah. So here's the thing: for men, that's why I don't like mentorship, because sometimes you're assigned someone who doesn't want to mentor, right? But on the other hand, as an individual, never let go of an opportunity for a challenge, right? Now, because of that, you had to overcome, and you had to do things, and now you've overcome something, and you have a story to tell in an interview, whatever. Now you can tell, like, oh yeah, I had this bad situation where I was given a mentor who never wanted to mentor me, and I had to overcome it, and I did this, and that to overcome that, and I became a great SE, right? Versus like, oh crap, I have a bad mentor, and that's it, I'm done, I'm quitting, right? Use that as an opportunity for a story later on. Yeah, I mean, you said you had some questions, some ideas you wanted to discuss earlier. We have a bit of time, so let's chat.
Yeah. Okay. I'm thinking of, with the rise of just the promotions and ads on TikTok, YouTube. I mean, I could say some. With now the rise of SE academies. I mean, and I'm talking about like from third parties, not within companies, right? Not like a Salesforce Academy or, like Cisco, whoever else has it. I'm talking about these third parties. Like, I mean, I could say the names, right?
Yeah.
There's actually, there's Pre-Sales Collective, there's Careerist. There's also another one I just saw. Someone put on their LinkedIn. I actually wanted to explore a little bit more, but apparently it's an academy. So people are trying to come up with these academies. But with the rise of like the ads that are coming up, man, I don't know. I feel like being an SE now, like sales engineering, is such a trending topic. They've made it, they've made it hot now. Like it's this role that I feel not everyone necessarily knows about. They heard about it, like just like the sound bites, like, oh, you don't have to worry about doing cold calling, and you'll make more money than what you made in your previous career. So you should try this. And I don't know, like, I wanted to ask you, like, what are your thoughts about this whole like trending thing of SE? Like, is it, yeah. I mean, like, I guess we could start unpacking from there, but just like, I saw the ads, and I asked I asked a few people, and their responses were, well, I was on TikTok and I saw, XYZ company promoting their academy to learn how to become a sales engineer. I was in this profession before. Now, they're telling me that I can get into tech and I make all this extra money and I don't have to worry about cold calling. I feel like that's like the one little soundbite that everybody's so like concerned about. Like, I don't have to cold call or sell people.
Oh, you do have to sell people as a sales engineer, right?
See, you got to demystify that too.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I haven't attended on any of the academies, so I can't speak about them. The fact of the matter is, every company does sales engineering in a different way. So you can go to an academy and go do the sales engineering thing, and then you get out and get a job. And the way you do sales engineering is completely different from what you've learned at an academy. So, and just because you went to a couple of things. Just because you went to an academy doesn't mean you don't have to put in the work to get a job. Most people think, all right, like I'm going to go do this boot camp, I'm going to go do this academy, and as soon as I'm done, a job's going to land in my lap. Like, no, you still have to put in the work, right? And like I tell my coaching clients, like they come to me, it's like, oh, when can you get me a job? It's like, I can't get you a job. I can teach you how to go find a job, any job you want in the world. It could be sales engineering, it could be anything else. But you have to put in the work. And if you don't want to put in the work, you're not going to be successful, whether before or after as a sales engineer, if you do happen to be lucky and get a job as a sales engineer. So that's one. And the second thing is, you don't need to worry about cold calls. You have to worry about so many other things. People talk about sales engineering as if it's the best thing since sliced bread. It has its challenges. Right? Like I have a few videos about the downside of being a sales engineer. For example, if you're an inside SE, you don't have to do cold calls, but you're on the computer from basically 9 to 5 doing one demo after another, and you can be easily replaced by recording. But yet you're still there because if someone asks a technical question, you still have to go get it. You're dealing with account managers who are double booking you for everything. Right? If you're tied one-to-one, you're dealing with account managers who don't really know much and keep asking you to do things like traveling across the country for half an hour meeting. It's like, so there are other things to worry about. I love sales engineering. I think it's the best thing ever. Right? But I always like to tell people, like, there is more to it than just meeting customers and having fun. Right? You're going to be working at midnight trying to figure out a demo, trying to figure out why your environment crashed and what you can do. How can it not happen in front of a customer? You're going to be jumping on calls with account managers telling them that, no, we cannot sell this to this customer, and them being pissed off at you. Or you're going to be blamed because you qualified a deal out and they were very much counting on that deal to make their quota, and now they're pissed at you and they're yelling at you. You're going to be dealing with customers who come to you and say, you sold us the wrong thing, even though you didn't sell them the wrong thing. They just changed their mind halfway through the usage of the product. They wanted to do something else that was never discussed. Right? It could be, if you want to take ownership and say, like, hey, I never asked that question, that's fine. But I had to sit once with a customer and my account manager and just have the customer yell at us for an hour straight, showing us everything wrong with our product. And most of it was just user error. But you couldn't tell the customer it's user error at that time. He was pissed. So there's a lot more to it. You're going to have to, if you're a software designer or a network engineer or anything other than sales engineering and sales, you don't have to deal with as many people as we do on a daily basis. Right? And we just talked about personalities clash. So you might have a personality clash with the account manager. You might have a personality clash with your new SE manager, or with a teammate, or with a customer. Right? You're increasing the opportunity for it to have personality clashes. And I'm not trying to convince anyone from not doing it, but not everyone is going to be successful in this role. You think you're going to be the expert in 20 products? No. You're going to be the generalist, and you're going to look at a customer who's been using your product for 20 years and they know it inside out. And they're going to be asking you, why did you do this and not that? And you're going to feel this big. Just because I don't know everything about my product. Like, my customer has been using this product for 20 years. They know the product more than I do. But I know all 20 products a little bit more. So it's not all sunshine and rainbow. That's my big worry, that everybody thinks that sales engineering is their ticket out. There's a lot of work involved. If you're commission based, there are many years that you might not get your commission, depending on your quota, depending on your salesperson. I mean, technically, as an SE or a salesperson, every year you're almost getting a pay cut. You realize that?
Say it again.
Every year you're pretty much getting a pay cut.
How so?
How so? So let's say your quota for this year is $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
and you hit $1.3 million. So you get paid extra. Great. Now, the powers that be saw that you made $1.3 million and say, all right, we need 10% growth. So now it's $1.43 million, your quota. But every time you get okay, so now your quota increased. So now you need to sell $1.7 million almost to get paid the same amount that you did the year before. If you sell $1.3 million as an SE, not as a salesperson, if you assisted the salespeople in selling $1.3 million, you make less than you did the year before. So it's effectively a pay cut. Right? You're going to have new products all the time that are coming out that may or may not sell. They changed the way we get paid our commission 1 year just to pay us less. So we used to get paid 1% of commission for every 1% of quota attained. Sounds familiar? They changed it so that you only get 0.5% or 0.6% of commission for every 1% of quota attained until you hit 60%. And then you get paid 1.7%. So unless you make $1 million, like 100%, you're not getting paid the same. You're getting paid less. So there's always these things that happen. And, yes, you get paid more. The closer you are to the customer, the more you get paid. But be careful of lifestyle creep.
Yeah.
Because in the end, you might be broke making $300,000 the same way you were broke making 50.
Yeah.
And your life will not be any better. You just have a bigger house, you have a nicer car, which are both great for the first 3 weeks.
Yeah.
End of rant.
I got to see that firsthand too. All my peers around me in the office, when they started saying, wow, look at this money I'm making, they all started getting new cars. They're they're going on a lot more trips. Yeah. I'm like, oh wow, look around me, man. I'm, obviously we're all making this money, and of course, just again, like you said, the lifestyle creep. Now that I have this, now I could get these things, and then slowly but surely, if they don't look behind, they're like, oh wow, the same burdens now are just coming with this new bracket that I'm in for.
Making money is good. Making money will help you take care of your family if that's what you want. Will help you go on trips if that's what you want. You should be making more money. You should aim to make more money so you can take care of yourself. But just be careful of what comes with it, right? I think trips are great. If you go on trips and you're living your life, great. Excuse me. If that's what you want. But if you end up choose what you want. If you end up buying a Rolex that you're never gonna wear, it's not very useful. Is it a good use of your money? So.
Yeah. I wanted to go back. You said something earlier before, and I think I wanted to just piggyback on that. And now I'm just at a loss at this moment. I don't know why, because these. So here are the two things, right? In my experiences, everyone goes, "Oh, you don't have to cold call," but first off, I'm gonna hit you with the punchline. You might. There's a slight chance. I don't know what that percentage is. Maybe it could be a 1% to 10% chance that you might be cold calling. And I'll tell you this: at a company that has 10,000 plus, I'll just leave it like that, 10,000 plus employees worldwide, working in the federal sector, trying to build new business or expansion. And if the organization still new with how they're trying to position their product to the federal sector, they were of course having us wanting to go do cold calls, just to start helping out to build new business. So there's a slight chance you might have to do that. Next thing I also think about is the cross functionality of an SE, a previous company that I was at, where I was working hand in hand with product management team, working to improve the user experience, help, there was just one product that wasn't selling well because just by the simple way of adoption, customers were just having poor adoption with it. And I had to diagnose that. And I was the one that pointed it out to management and said, hey, look what's going on here. Just like from logging into, to doing what this product is supposed to be doing, it's confusing. Nobody knows how to use this. So we had to pretty much work for weeks on end to figure this out and make up a new map. And it improved. And, there's little things like that. But who has that acumen? Maybe I think is because of my time in the software bootcamp, where I was busy breaking code, developing code, debugging code, looking at other people's code and cleaning that up. That gave me the eye. I mean, I also believe in user experience as well. So, I mean, that's why it was on my radar to see all right, well, what's going on here? Why is no one purchasing this product, and being able to point that out? But there's possibilities that you're not just going to be just jumping on a call and being, as they say, a demo jockey, a demo monkey. You sometimes could be beyond. I mean, obviously, I think being an SE is not just demoing, right? Like I think there's a lot more, especially in my more recent jobs where I'm actually building out and sizing out products, and having to really get into the nitty gritty of things.
Yeah, so just to bring it back. Sales engineering is a great job, but it's not always as advertised. Not everyone will be a good SE. Not everyone will succeed in this role. Some people will be overwhelmed. Some people will hate working with people like you. You think hey, I want to be talking to people all day. That sounds like fun. But then 3 weeks or 3 months or a year into the job, they're like, this is too much. I have so many people telling me I can't go out for more drinks with my account managers anymore. That's an actual problem that I get. Hey, my account managers keep taking me out for drinks and I'm tired. I've gained weight. I don't want to do this anymore. How do I handle the situation? If you know how to be a good sales engineer, it's the best job ever. If an account manager comes to me right now and asks me to do something that's stupid, I will look at them and say, that's stupid. Right? I'm at that point in my career, but I have to go through some times where my account manager will invite me to do a demo on the wrong product. Or my account manager will lie to the customer, and when I correct them, they will lie some more. Right? I've been in situations where the account manager took a purchase order on a product that we do not support. Right? You get so beyond you're gonna have some technical problems because you're gonna need to learn that. You're gonna need to learn how to debug humans, right? Different personalities, different people, and you're gonna have some ethical situations you're gonna need to deal with. And I'm not trying to dissuade anyone away from sales engineering. I just want people to open their eyes.
Yeah,
because I find that many people are talking about sales engineering as if it's easy. Man. It's one of the hardest jobs I've ever had to do. I've been in support. I've been called at midnight to fix problems at a customer site. Sales engineering is harder. I've been in network design where customers get pissed off because they wanted to buy another vendor, but the higher ups went with me, with my company, and now I have to go deal with angry customers trying to build their network. Sales engineering is harder because you're looking for those rare skills of technical and business. Technology on its own is useless. Business on its own doesn't solve anything. You need technology to solve business a lot of times. And then you need to deal with humans. And humans are freaking emotional, man. Their reputation's on the line. They trusted you and they didn't get exactly 100% what they thought they were going to get through no fault of your own. Humans are difficult. Some humans are great. I've made friends on the job. I played basketball with some of them. One of them wanted to go to balcony with the kids. He has kids and he wants me to bring my kids. It just never worked out. I made friends with some of them. And some of them are pure a-holes. Their job is to make your life miserable. But that's any job, I find. So
we're also neglecting the handoff to customer success. And how sometimes some things could bite you in the butt if we talk about sales reps undermining, throwing you under the bus. And then also that could just hurt you all the way into post sales, where customer success is going back into sales and saying, hey, why did you promise customers that we can do this? We could have these integrations, say that,
Yeah.
why did you promise them that? We don't do that. And
well, as sales engineers, it's our job not to. That's the hard part, right?
And then
the
you get held
salesperson is promising something. We're saying no. How do we thread that line? I find sales engineering to be the job most dependent on other people as well. Right? If you're in support, you get a call out from a customer. You look at the ticket. You open it up. You'll try to reproduce it and send it back. You escalate stuff like that. As a sales engineer, you're dependent on product management to put in the right features. You're dependent on salespeople to find the right opportunities. You're dependent on customer success to follow through on your promises, right? So it's a team sport. It's actually a team sport. You can't be a lone wolf in this industry. You might be dependent on other SEs who know more about a certain technology than you. You're dependent on product management to come and talk about their newest product that's not even out, so you can't talk about it. Like one issue I had as a sales engineer in previous company is that we had specialists for many of the products that we had, because again, we had many products, so some of them had specialists. One product in particular, I always had opportunities in, but they were never big enough for the specialists to even look at it. And they were few and far in between for me to spend time and actually learn it. Like I had that one product that sold like 80% of my revenue, and then this one would maybe sell 5%. And if I wanted to invest my time in it, I would have to invest 80% of my time to learn that, but only provide 5% of the revenue. So now I have to go convince a specialist to come and jump on a call with me. He's busy because he's working with $1 million deals, whereas my deal is 50K maybe. So all these things that we don't talk about as much, and I never want to talk negatively about sales engineering, but it is not. There are some downsides to it, right? And that's what I want to tell people. Like, it's going to be hard work. Yes, it's the best job ever that I've ever had, but I enjoy it because I enjoy changing people's minds. If an account manager comes to me and gives me a hard time, I love changing their mind. So yeah, that's if you want to be a sales engineer, just know that you're going to put in a lot of effort.
Yeah. I know it's wow. We got straight to 10 o'clock.
Yep.
I had another question, but it's.
I have time. If you want to ask.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
I think I have time. Hold on.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Ask the question. If I have time, I'll answer it.
Yeah. Hold on. Is this going to be edited, by the way? Because I know that I feel like sometimes I gotta come up with something quick.
No, it's not going to be edited. All this you're saying right now.
Yeah.
It's going to be on the show.
Oh, it is.
It's all real, man. It's all real.
Perfect. All right. Well, then people gotta wait. People gotta wait then. Yep. We're standing here by the water cooler, and I'm just trying to grab a little bit more of my Poland Spring.
Just trying to check if I have. I'm good. I have a few more minutes. Well, what is the question? This important question that you wanted to ask?
Well, okay, they're not. It's not important. These are thoughts that have come up through my time in pre-sales. These are. Okay. You had said some things, and it just sparked things that are like, wow, I remember this situation, or we have discussions as a whole, and I feel like this is still the problem in sales engineering. Like Patrick was saying, I remember we were talking about that, and I think he said in some time ago, there's still a problem that we're still trying to solve within sales engineering. Again, yeah, I could.
Which problem was that? Do you remember?
Well, I know I had pointed out personally, I know he had a problem and he answered it, but for me, I thought there's still this idea of siloing. I felt, at least I'm not gonna say that's with every company, but there's still silos, and I'm just trying to figure how do we all work together synergistically.
Silos, you mean different products have different sales engineering teams, or more like sales teams are separate from the sales engineering teams?
All of it.
Yeah.
You know,
I like, yeah. I sometimes it has to come to the individual too. Like, yeah, the bosses need to figure it out.
yeah,
But if you as an individual go out there and start making like connections with the sales teams, with the product management, because product management is a silo, engineering is a silo, support is a silo, and that's why we see, like when I talk about you need to build internal relationships, you need to build internal relationships with all these people so that you don't have to be a silo. You, the biggest silo I've been a part of was because I was tied one to one, like all sales engineers were tied one to one with their account managers. Most SEs didn't even talk to each other unless there was like a specific technical question. Right? And we had like my manager worked really hard on getting us together and getting us to communicate and talk about stuff. But yeah, like it is a problem that needs to be figured out. We won't figure it out in the next 5 minutes.
yeah. Of
But we
course,
can brainstorm if you want.
you could bring. Of course. Yeah. At this moment, I mean, I know we're just tossing around the idea, but going back again then to TikTok, because it's like TikTok, it seems like it's so funny. It's been like inadvertently people's news, like their source of information. And
Yep.
somehow, some way, the brain just like, has made it seem like, ooh, I'm going to take this as credible. I'm not going to say everyone does. I'm not going to say that they're saying everything on TikTok is credible, but the way it's going, even if we're just talking respectively within sales engineering, pre-sales, the many people that are like, oh my God, I saw, like the many people who DM me in LinkedIn and go, oh, I want to pick your brain because, I heard all the great stuff about sales engineering, like the Hollywood-esque version, the rosy glasses version of what SE is. And again, I'm not trying to, I love sales engineering. I love pre-sales. I just want people to know, I want people to understand everything that encompasses this before they can say, this is where I want to be. I mean, for me, it was an accidental role, right? And I think a lot of other people's journeys were the same thing too, at least from when I was first coming in. It was very accidental for me. I never knew what was a sales engineer until I was getting through the interview, got to meet my team. And then, of course, I was onboarding and I go, oh, wow, this is great. This is where I want to be. But I never knew what that was because I was literally just looking for software engineering, full stack, front end developer positions. But other people who come in the other way, who are seeing it through TikTok, they're like, oh, this is cool. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. And I get these benefits. It's like, well, that's why you watch We the Sales Engineers by Ramsey, so you could get a whole global perspective.
Thank you. Thank you for the shameless plug for the people already listening to my show. I'll use that as an ad on TikTok, maybe later. Yeah, I mean, listen, you won't know if you're going to enjoy something until you try it. So I think there's a positive for those ads, and even though they might paint sales engineering as the end all be all, I think it's a good job, right? Most people will enjoy it. Most people will find a way because it's a sliding scale of technical and business. So you can figure out where you fit in that sliding scale. So I think it's a great job. And you won't know. Like I have a lot of people tell me, hey, I want to move from sales engineering into sales. Do you think I'll enjoy it? You won't know until you try. And depends on the manager, depends on how they set quota, depends on your lifestyle. Like if you're a sales engineer and you're getting paid like an 80-20 split, and you go into sales and they switch that same salary into 50-50, you're not going to enjoy it. Because you're going to be like, you're basically getting a pay cut for a potential earning. So basically, again, if you're moving from engineering job to sales engineering, make sure that the base of the sales engineering role is equal or higher to whatever you're making today as a engineer. Same thing if you're going into sales. If you make sure that the base of a salesperson, like if you go into the sales role, is the same as the base as a sales engineering role. You just get the upside, right? Because you want to start off like not having to worry a lot about money. You just want to learn, and So I think you won't know until you try. And if you do try, the upside there, if you try and you don't enjoy it, the upside there is you now have connections in many different places that you can go to. So I'll leave it there. Any final thoughts from the wise Anthony Palmozzi?
I could just say people just keep learning, keep feeding your mind, keep networking, of course, keep meeting people, because even within the network, that was a learning, that was like education for me, you know. I know some people also come at it with bad form, and that's another thing I want to say, besides what they hear about sales engineering, the whole idea of networking. Yeah, sure, you're making connections. People, of course, they see that as a means to an end. I think sometimes networking can be an end within itself, because you're learning about people, what they do day to day. You had to also build relationships. I would have never thought that I would build friendships outside of, from these networking. You know, some people now I'm connected to. Obviously, you and I are really close, but I'm just saying, like, and Trevor, oh God, him and I have met up a couple times.
I hate you guys. I hate the fact that you guys are in Boston meeting.
I know we're next to each other, so of course that makes it easy.
I feel so far away from any other SE. I mean, I know there are SEs in Ottawa, but I feel so far away. Maybe I should make more of an effort to meet people in Ottawa.
That's why I'm trying to come out to Ottawa to come see you.
Yeah, you should.
We got some things being planned, man. I think we got some.
I have a room to Airbnb, so you don't need a hotel room.
Perfect. I didn't know that. That's good.
Oh,
good.
It's recent.
It's what?
Recent.
Oh, that's perfect. Because that was one of my things. It was like, all right, now I got to find some place to stay.
Just let me know. Let me know. We'll reserve it.
Love it.
And for everybody looking for an Airbnb, let me.
Yeah.
Reach out to me.
Yeah. And I just want to say, too, you and I have some ideas up in wraps. Like, I really believe in the idea of edutainment, like educating people, but like also entertaining them. Just like you and Demo Story did. You did a quick little video on, things that prospects
never say.
Or SEs never say. I think you and I definitely got to be doing that. And Trevor and I have been brainstorming ideas as well. So I think
we've been going in circles.
We gotta get something out for the viewers.
All right, stay tuned. Now that you said it in public, we have to kind of do it. So, all right, man. Well, let's end the show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you took something out of it. Tony, thank you for jumping on and just talking sales engineering with me. I'm not gonna do an outro after this, so we're just gonna end it here. So, for the great Anthony Palmozzi and myself, I'm signing off.